What if you could totally change who you are in just 1 month? Well, according to our source material today, there's a set of 5 morning habits that can apparently put you 10 steps ahead of everybody else, turning you into what it calls an alpha male. Okay, let's dive into this 30-day challenge and see what it's all about.
So this is the big question the source is trying to answer, right? How do you become an alpha male? It's a pretty bold claim for sure. The whole idea is built around a really structured daily routine, one that's designed to change you on the inside and the outside.
And the magic number here is 30. The core of this whole thing is a 30-day challenge. We're not talking about some year-long project. Nope. This is a focused, 1-month sprint built on 5 key habits you do every single morning. The idea is that this intense consistency is what really creates that lasting change.
But before we go any further, what are we even aiming for? Let's be clear on the goal. According to the source, the alpha male has a few key traits: a muscular build, a sharp and fast mind, a deep voice, and just an overall vibe of confidence. So that's the person this 30-day challenge is supposed to help you become.
All right, the first couple of habits are all about getting in sync with your body's natural clock. The source argues that you have to work with your biology, not against it, if you really want to max out your potential. And that starts with your hormones.
And that brings us right to habit number 1. You gotta wake up early, specifically between 5 and 7 a.m. And this isn't just about having more time in your day. According to the source, this time window is super important for hormonal reasons.
Okay, so check this out. The science behind this is actually pretty simple. At night, your body makes melatonin. That's the stuff that makes you sleepy. But in the morning, your body flips a switch. It starts pumping out testosterone and cortisol, which, you guessed it, make you feel active and full of energy. The source claims your testosterone is at its absolute peak between 5 and 7 a.m., making it the perfect window for high performance.
Which leads us perfectly into the second habit, a morning workout. It just makes sense, right? You want to ride that natural wave of high testosterone to get the absolute most out of your exercise.
And the plan is super straightforward. You're looking at a 30 to 45-minute workout. If you're at home, the source says to focus on the big 3: push-ups, pull-ups, and squats. If you're hitting the gym, it suggests a classic push-pull legs or an upper-lower body split. The main takeaway here is that using that morning testosterone boost can help you go harder, last longer, and even recover faster.
So you've crushed your workout. Now what? Well, the focus immediately shifts to refueling and recovery. This next part is all about giving your body the building blocks it needs to get stronger.
And that takes us directly to habit number 3, a high-protein diet. The source is really clear on this. You can work out all you want, but if you're not eating right, you won't see muscle gain. And protein is priority number 1.
So what should you be eating? Here are some of the recommendations. For vegetarians, we're talking things like paneer, lentils, chickpeas, and soy chunks. For non-vegetarians, it's the classics: eggs, chicken, and fish. The goal is to make these foods a regular part of your diet to help those muscles grow. Now here's a very specific pro tip from the source. It's all about timing. It says you should front-load your protein, making breakfast your biggest protein meal of the day. Why? The idea is that it'll digest all day long, giving you a steady stream of energy and fuel for muscle repair right when you need it.
Now, besides nutrition, the source adds one more little thing to your post-workout routine: skincare. The logic is simple. After your exercise, you're sweaty, right? That sweat can trap gunk and bacteria on your skin, so the recommendation is to wash your face as soon as you're done.
The source even points to a specific product, noting that it has ingredients like salicylic acid and niacinamide, which are known for fighting pimples and helping to brighten skin.
And to give you an idea of its popularity, the source claims this product has over 6.5 lakh. That's 650,000 positive reviews on major shopping sites.
All right, we've covered the body, but that's only half the equation. The source argues that being an alpha isn't just about muscles. You need a sharp mind to match. So this next habit is all about mental fitness.
So habit number 4 is a daily 10-minute brain exercise. Think of it this way. Just like you train your muscles in the gym, you've got to train your brain to keep it sharp, focused, and quick on its feet.
And the routine is broken down into 3 really simple steps. First, as soon as you wake up, you look at something far away. The source says this wakes up your mind and is good for your eye muscles. Second, you follow that up with 5 minutes of quiet meditation, just with your eyes closed. And finally, you spend the last 5 minutes working on a tough puzzle, like Sudoku or a Rubik's Cube, to really get your brain firing.
Okay, we've arrived at the final habit. And according to the source, this is the most important tip of them all.
This is the secret that supposedly ties everything together and basically guarantees your success.
And that secret is, well, it's pretty simple. Write down your goals. It's not enough to just think about what you want. The physical act of putting a pen to paper is what the source calls the real game changer.
And get this, the source uses a pretty wild statistic to make its point. It claims that if you just think about your goals, you've got about a 50% chance of making them happen. But if you actually write them down, that success rate supposedly jumps all the way up to 90%. I mean, that is a massive difference for such a small action.
So how does this work in practice? Well, on a daily level, you write down your to-do list for the day to keep yourself productive. For your bigger life goals, the advice is to write them down 5 to 10 times every single morning to keep them right at the front of your mind. It basically creates a clear roadmap, so you always know if what you're doing today is getting you closer to where you want to be tomorrow.
So let's just do a super quick recap of this whole 30-day challenge. It all comes down to these 5 morning habits. Wake up early to work with your body. Use that energy for a morning workout. Fuel up with a high-protein breakfast. Sharpen your mind with a quick brain exercise. And finally, lock it all in by writing down your goals. And that's pretty much it for this explainer. The source lays out a very clear step-by-step plan. So it leaves us with just one final question to think about. If you were going to start this challenge tomorrow, what would be the very first goal you'd write down?